Broadcasting way too early from 3 separate Wi-Fi connections. It's PT Breakfast Club with Tony Maritato, Dave Kittle, and Jimmy McKay.
Good morning, Tony Maritato. I'm Jimmy McKay. Dave Kittle is somewhere hanging out with MICKEY, MOU, Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, Mickey Mouse. He's in Disney World, which I think is a...
Oh, I didn't know that.
Didn't anybody say he's in Florida? I just assume everybody who goes to Florida is going to Disney World. Maybe I'm making things up, which...
I know he was. I didn't know if he was still there.
Pre 8:30 in the morning.
I'm telling you what.
We're going to Disney today. I'm out this morning. Yeah, I didn't make that up.
He refuses to admit it. He is going to be one of the New Yorkers that is moving to Florida. Yeah. He is going to leave.
Who was I talking to yesterday? I was talking to someone and I go, I live in Florida. I go, but where are you from? He's like, Florida. I go, where are you from? He's like, Ohio. When I moved to South Carolina because I was running a radio station and I was like, I'm going to be a PT now. And I was taking like 1 or 2 classes at a time to get my prereqs done. And then my dad, who didn't go to college, was like, wanted to understand. He's like, help me understand. Like, you're taking these classes so you can take more classes. I was like, yeah, you got to like do this and then get that. And he's like, well, why is it taking so long? I was like, well, I have a job and I'm taking 1 or 2. I have to do well in these classes. And he's like, so if you quit and moved here with me and live here for free in South Carolina, you could do it faster. And I was like, yep. And he's like, do you want to do that? I was like, oh, I have boxes now. Like I had already just materialized. I was like, sure. So doing that. And when I got to South Carolina, I was like, I can't wait to meet all these South Carolina, girls. And there were none. They were all from Ohio and Pennsylvania and New York and New Jersey. And I was like, where are all the girls with the accents? They did not exist. They didn't exist.
Yeah.
All right. So Dave's in Florida. We are here. How was your New Year's? How was your Christmas? We haven't done this in a while.
We did New Year's Day episode. So right. It was good. Everything was awesome. We had a great time. Family is good. Family is healthy. I have officially hit that time in life where I say every day, where did my kids go? Because now like they've grown into men. They're taller than me. They're like doing their own thing. I barely see them. And I can now say, cherish it because it happens too fast.
Yeah, that's scary. I hit the official age where we had this like the same little group of people. I mean, I'm still friends with my best friend since 2nd grade. And he's like, we're having a bunch of the dudes over, and the dudes are all friends we were friends with since elementary school and middle school and high school, and their wives and their kids now who are now in college. And I'm like, I'm weird Uncle Jimmy who has no wife or kids. And I look at my buddy Brian, who had just driven back from Florida. He got back at 8 a.m. Now it's like 10 o'clock and he's wasted tired. He's like, I'm barely hanging on. And I go, I'm exhausted too. I slept at home. I go, do you mind? I'm like, what would happen if I just dipped out? And he goes, you're the only one who can. Like, we're all living through you. He's like, run. And I dipped out and I get a text message from his wife as I'm pulling in my driveway. Like, you're a loser. But I was like, it's 10:30 and I don't want to be awake. So I don't have to. What am I proving? I know what midnight looks like and I know how to count backwards from 10. Nothing changes in the new year because we still need to pay some bills, Tony.
We do.
We still need to pay some bills.
Let's hear it.
So here's the thing. One of our new sponsors for the new year is BioFreeze Your Feelings, for the clinician who's just got a 1-star review on Google and took it so personally. Apply BioFreeze for your feelings. It's not BioFreeze. This is BioFreeze for your feelings. Now in Cryo Cucumber Scent. And this is what happens. Just apply it directly to your feel. I'm not really sure anatomically where your feelings are located, but you just smush it all over the place, and it'll just take that 1-star review away from everybody. So let's start with that one conversation that someone had where they were thinking about maybe. I almost wanted to make this a mailbag segment. Maybe we should make it a mailbag segment. Let's do that.
It's mailbag time. Real questions, real people. No bots allowed.
Gonna do the screenshot of the actual post, but like maybe we'll spare the person because we see these posts pretty often. And this person was essentially like, I'm thinking about maybe starting a business. So I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah.
That was the thing. I'm already overwhelmed thinking about it. I'm looking for a mentor who can guide me step by step from paperwork to opening day, little by little, or advice on companies that can handle the setup for me and make the process easier. So you don't want to run a business. It sounds like you want to have a business run for you. You want to skip running it to owning it. So I would take out a loan 3 times the size as normal, and then factor in that loan someone to run the business you would like to buy. I don't know. Like, is this person is obviously they're named Humble Sunflower, so they're talking. Dave would appreciate their speaking anonymously, but then 30 people chime in. Don't be discouraged by the naysayers. There's still plenty of this person from only the information we have. This is the wrong person to start a business, right?
I think you have to go from that narrative of, if you're overwhelmed now, what's down the road. Now, on the flip side, right? Because I'm the one that shared that post with you guys. I knew Dave would go crazy. Too bad he's not here to discuss it. But then look, we're physical therapists, right? We understand baby steps and acclimating. I know somebody who, wants to run their first 5K, wants to run their first marathon, wants to take that first step, like to an infant, to a toddler. I guess it's a toddler. Taking those first steps, learning to crawl before you can walk. Like, I get it. I don't know. And I think this leads into the post that both Jared Hall created and Richard Severin kind of came on with, which is, okay, we're in this field of physical therapy. We're making decisions constantly. People in a cognitively heavy, I think that was kind of the way they said it, yep. Profession need mental rest breaks. And I had to read the posts a bunch of times, and I still can't put a coherent response to it. But basically they were saying, well, if you're making all these cognitive decisions, you need breaks, and maybe we do a 3-hour work, like chunk of work, and then we take 45 minutes off, and then we work another 3 and take another hour off. And they're looking for ways to change the workload. And my question is, and this is where my age obviously shows, whether we're talking about somebody who wants to start a business who feels overwhelmed, we're talking about a practicing clinician who I think they're saying feels overwhelmed. Is it that the situation is actually overwhelming, or is it that the person hasn't developed the skills and the capacity to handle the cognitive load? Right. And that's where I go back to last week. I was in the clinic by myself. I saw a full caseload that's normally split between 2 therapists. Like, was it hard? Yeah, it was. But I didn't feel like, like I was going to collapse or I was going to have a mental breakdown. Now, I couldn't have done that as a new grad. Like, you build capacity. I can't run, a mile if I haven't run a block, but there's also humans that are running 26 miles. Like, there's a variation in all of this. I just think it kind of, we have to take context into account. And I don't think we need to baby or coddle or, tell people that they're too weak to handle it. Yeah. Like, build the reps. What do you think?
I, of course, have to sound like old man Jimmy and default to what I knew, because I never ran a clinic, but I did run a radio station. And I understand that those are similar, not the same. I kept waiting for the day when I'd be ready to run the radio station until my boss, who was leaving, was like, dude, you've been doing it for 6 months. I've been stepping away. Like, stuff has gone sideways. So the only way for me to have gotten there was a mentor who essentially was like, I'm not even going to tell you that I'm taking the training wheels off. I'm just going to start doing it. You're never ready. You're never ready. Right. But from the second one-on-one meeting I had with this boss, he's like, what do you really want to do in your career? And I felt scary telling the guy, I'd like to have not necessarily your job, but I'd like to have your job eventually. And he was like, good, say it out loud. Otherwise it doesn't happen. From then on, I think secretly he was like pushing me. Cause he was like, that's my job. But I always wanted it. I never felt overwhelmed. I always felt like a healthy respect for, well, I'm not ready yet. It wasn't like I'm overwhelmed. It was like, well, Chris is super smart. He's way smart. I'll never be that smart, but like eventually I will, until he was like, dude, it's running a radio station. This is not rocket surgery. No one's going to die if you screw this up. Right. And I was like, oh yeah, my dad even said that to me. My dad was a firefighter, like in New York City. He was like, is anyone gonna die if you have a really bad day at work? And when he said that, I was like, no. Stress level went from here to like, do you run a radio station? Like,
so that was my immediate response when I read Richard's post. I was like, we're not, generally speaking, we're not making life or death situations. Right. Now, again, it's context dependent. You know, he talks a lot about like vital signs and he seems to work with a very medically complex population. Oh, yes. And if I was in that world, yeah, like I want to take mental breaks. My world is not that world. My patients are driving to the clinic. They're dressing, bathing, feeding themselves. They're living in the community. Yeah, they just have nuisance conditions that they want to work through. So I think that's a big part of it. The other part is, are we in a situation where people are verbalizing things that we all thought, but we didn't say? Yeah. I feel overwhelmed, but I don't have to tell people I feel it. I just internalize it and I work through it. Like, they want a mentor. I wanted a mentor. The mentor didn't exist at that time. This was pretty much pre-internet, pre-social media, pre all that stuff. So I don't know. It's so hard to look at those situations, and everybody says the same thing. If I knew how challenging, how hard it was going to be to start a business, I probably never would have done it. But I just took the leap and I dealt with it as the things were coming at me.
Dan says, person sounds like they don't have a written business plan. Yeah, it's fine. Just a dream. Yeah, I mean, you want someone else to do the work. Ben's saying going through the steps of learning brings the knowledge.
Yes.
Like you don't, I'm all pro education, but like there's a difference between theory and practice. And like even the people who teach you theory are going to tell you like you need to jump out of the nest.
So now we take this and we say, okay, is this another symptom of kind of the modern education system? Everybody wants to be taught everything. Yeah. Like, where are the innovators? Where are the trailblazers? Where are the people who look at this and say, you know what? Nobody's ever done what I want to do. I am going to go do it and figure it out. I am going to cut the trail in a virgin forest and I'm going to make this work. I feel like every single time I talk to somebody, they're like, well, show me how to do it. Teach me how to do it. And even if they're willing to do the work, like you have to lift the weight. You have to do the thing. Yeah. And there isn't a teacher for everything.
But Ben has also said, if you don't want the knowledge or the wisdom, or I would also say like some of the stress, do a franchise. Like that's the middle ground, right? Which is like, this is clinic in a box. We've stepped on the landmines. We've tripped over the mistakes that would normally cost you money or cripple you. So you jump in, but now you pay for that. So you want all the freedom with none of the risk. I'm launching a course today that I've been talking about. You've been talking about me doing it for 3 years, which is like, you know how to run a podcast. People want to run those now. 5 years ago, I think I had to convince people to launch a podcast. Now I just like be like, do we have enough podcasts? I feel like we might. But now people are like, I don't know how to do it. I'm like, great. It's $500 for 8 weeks, which now if you do the math, I'm still sort of like $500 for 8 weeks of one-on-one. Plus I'm going to add all these other things. You could Google all of the things I'm going to teach you, but I'm going to sit with you and hold your hand and look over your shoulder and then be like, now explain it to me why you're afraid again. And you're going to go, because of this. I'm going to go, that doesn't matter. And you're thinking about the wrong thing. Remember 2 weeks ago, I told you to think about A, not B. We're not worried about microphones. It does not matter. Right. So, but they want all the freedom with none of the responsibility. People love to talk about what rights they have. The other side of rights I was taught is responsibilities. Like you also have responsibilities, right? This isn't going to end. This is great fuel. We'll always have something to talk about on the podcast because this is never going to go away. There's just a new generation. Another group's going to walk in front of the firing squad and do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where are the people who are the innovators? Not in this Facebook group. They're out doing stuff. That's why we don't hear about them. They do exist. They're just doing them. That's the thing. They're not asking for permission. I was asking for permission when I launched my podcast. Even though I was 33 years old, I still walked into my professor's office. I was like, think about doing this thing. And she's like, okay. I'm like, but I'm sort of asking. And she's like, are you going to do it during class? I'm like, no. She's like, I don't care. Like in a good way, like do it.
Now we need both, right? So like my wife and I always talk about this. We started our practice in 2001. I was not a physical therapist. I didn't even know her when I signed the lease to rent the space. And it was one of those deals where we met, we built a relationship, we got everything going. And we were like, hey, here's the space. I don't know what the storefront used to be. And almost as quickly as we were like, well, she got to do, I already started to pull paneling off the wall. And I'm like, we got to just start doing this. And so the joke between us is, she is the quintessential physical therapist. You know, she did all the proper stuff and followed all the rules and did everything. She was like, I would still be thinking about if I should remove the panel, and you've already ripped down the drywall.
Right.
You know, like with zero plan on what's next.
Are you the original Alex and Layla Hormozi?
Perhaps, but we were never that successful.
Well, I think you need in any good combo like a wow and a how. Like you've seen me talking to Andrea Cheney a couple times, and she's a marketer, but she's very much, there's a Venn diagram. Is she also
a therapist?
No.
Okay.
But she's worked in the healthcare space enough, and she's like, I like putting these efforts into something I feel like is good. But she's not a therapist. She's very how. So she looked at me the first time we ever worked together. We got like dropped in the room, and both of us were looking at each other like, why are there two of us here? And we didn't know why. The person who put us in the same room was like, just figure it out. And then we looked at each other like, what are we supposed to do? And I remember it was like the Spider-Man meme. Like, I'm pointing at her, she's pointing at me. And I remember being like, I don't want your job. Like, I'm not going to be good at what you're good at. But conversely, I am a therapist. It was a therapy company, and I'm more all over the place. And once we like sniffed each other around a little bit, we're like, got it. Okay. Yeah. Now this is how we work together. And we figured that out. But like, that's a good team. I think you need to be able to operate independently, but also play well with others. So
back to the original post.
Yeah.
I think a situation like that, what needs to happen is you don't know what you don't know. And agreed, that's overwhelming. You just accept the overwhelm. You accept that feeling. You accept the feeling of you're going to make mistakes. You start doing stuff. And as you start to do stuff, now you have information, because you can't even go to somebody. Like, I get questions all the time. I'm sure it's the same. What do I do? How do I do this? I'm like, it doesn't matter if I even spoon feed you the information. You don't know how to use it.
Right.
If you want to go down that road, you start doing it. You know you're going to make mistakes. As Jimmy said, you're not going to kill anyone. It's okay. And you then have information when you mess something up to go back. I can't even tell you how many times I do something and they're like, you need a permit to do that. I'm like, okay, I'll go get a permit. You need a license to do that. What? That's stupid, but okay, that's what I need. Like, I will figure it out as I go.
Yeah. Steven Johnson's, this guy wrote a book called, I can't remember the name of the book, but his concept is called the adjacent possible. He's like, the world is a giant chessboard, just squares upon square in infinite directions. And wherever you're standing, it's because someone 49,000 squares before learned how to create electricity. So now you're standing in the adjacent possible, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have 8 options. That's how chessboards work. You're standing. And then because AI now is here, I can take one step forward here. And now I have 8 new options, because now these options, I have go back to where I was, and I have go forward in all these. And you're just continually, but most of it is standing on the shoulder of giants. But I have to walk my own walk, right? We all have access to laptops and electricity, but somebody built Apple and somebody didn't, right? It's because they put their unique spin on that adjacent possible. You can only take one step. That was his simplification of like how innovation was made. Where good ideas come from. Steven Johnson. That was the name of the book. Adjacent possible. I actually wrote a note down, Tony, and didn't just interrupt someone and start talking. That's my 2026. So listen, this person will or will not be good at business, and it's going to be determined if they take the leap or not, or they're going to be at a dinner party 6 years from now saying, I should have done it. I would have done it. I would have been great. And like, we're only going to know if you do it. And there is no perfect, and I'm very sorry, but that's our psychological analysis of this anonymous person in the Facebook group for 18 and a half minutes.
Can we spend a couple minutes talking about EMRs?
Yes. What do you want to talk about EMRs?
So again, this plays off of Jared Hall, Richard Severin's post. You know, they were saying how therapists are overwhelmed with cognitive decisions and all of this stuff. And it got me thinking again. I'm like, I did finally squeak out a response, and I said something along the lines of, I think a lot of the decisions that therapists are burdened with are not decisions therapists should be making. Like this stuff should all be automated, which brings me back to the EMR. Now, I am happy. I'm satisfied with the EMR that I have. I have nothing negative to say. They've made great advances in EMRs compared to what I had purchased back in like the mid 2000s. But even with that, we went to Cheesecake Factory Sunday after church to like celebrate the end of the holiday and kids going back to school and stuff. I'm like, again, I scan the barcode, I scan the QR code, and I pay my bill. I don't have to bother the server. Yep. He's busy with other stuff. Why do I not have that integrated into the EMR already? The EMR has so much information. I just want to tease a couple of things and see what you think about this. My EMR already knows what visit number it is. It already knows the date. So like if the patient, it already knows the diagnosis code. So if the patient is coming for left shoulder pain, non-surgical case, they haven't been seen for 2 weeks, I might have a different treatment plan scheduled for that day compared to the patient who is just here 48 hours ago with the same condition. My EMR knows when a payment is processed through a third-party payer. It knows the allowed amount, it knows the billed amount, it knows the patient responsibility. It also knows the plan name, the policy. It has information and context. Why is it not applying that information forward? Why is it not making recommendations? And what it got me thinking about was an airline pilot has autopilot that's making thousands of adjustments while it flies the plane from New York to LAX. Tesla can drive across the country making thousands of life and death decisions every second of the trip. Why is my EMR still in 2026 just collecting information and not doing anything to make the therapist's life better, to support the clinical decision making? It has access to millions of data points, and I still feel like it's a dumb piece of software that just sits there and collects information that could be so valuable. So if the therapist is overloaded, maybe it's because we're not using technology that already exists in multiple different professions.
We're standing between the information and the EMR and the use of the EMR. It's like waiting for us to. Do you want to know one of the things that made me sweatiest when I was in a clinic?
What?
Is doing the math on when someone had surgery and how many days it had been.
Yes.
I was like, heck, because I got to be honest with you, Tony. You asked me what date it is. 98.9% of the time, I know what month it is. Date, not a clue. Could be the 2nd, could be the 17th. I don't know. I know it's Tuesday. I always know what day of the week it is, but what date? That person knows when their surgery was. They know that date. It's important to them. But yes, I would be like, well, you're at 2 weeks from post-surgery. They're like, we're at 6 weeks post-surgery. I'm like, yeah, totally. Because it was April, and I'm like, now it's June, July. I don't know what month it is. That's the bare minimum. I'll give you one example that brought this to light with me. It was Seth Godin who asked a simple question. Cover your ears if you don't want to be pissed off every time you buy something now. Seth Godin says when you go name, when you're buying something online, name, address, like street, 22 Main Street, town name, zip code, state. He goes, I'm going to slap you across the face now. If I put my zip code in, mine's 12586. Can I live in Iowa? I have to live in one town. 12586 is Walden, New York. Thanks for coming. Then why am I typing Walden, then doing a drop down to New York, then typing in a secret code 12586? Why is there not a plugin? It's still not here. This was a decade ago. Seth Godin pointed this out. Why is not 12586 automatically go bing, bing, done, move on? Yeah. Still does this. EMR, same thing, right? There's a bunch of things that as soon as you do one thing, 72 other things are also true. And we put that load on me having to think about it, go through this paper thing or scroll backwards and do this dumb, you know how dumb we look when we're looking at spreadsheets on a computer? Like that's the dumbest face ever. So yes, to everything that you just said. So what's the problem? Do EMR companies not know how to do this? Do they not want to do it? Because like, where's the hitch in the giddy up?
So, and I don't want to beat up the EMR companies because we know the guys behind the companies. I know they're working like crazy. I know they're trying to make things better constantly. And I know they're smart guys. They see this stuff. So I don't know. Is it okay? Kodak had the digital camera, but they weren't the ones that brought it out. The ice harvesters weren't the ones that created the refrigerator. I don't know. I wonder if it's still that their focus is someplace else because they're not therapists. They're not in the clinic. They're not dealing with the day-to-day. Even the best of the best EMR companies, they don't have that connection.
Like they don't know how important it is or how useful it would be, or they physically can't be done. I
think that. So what I've always been told is two things. One, they're working on other priorities. They can't do everything, and I get it.
Understood.
I sent my EMR company a message the other day. I'm like, hey guys, you made a change. I'm sure there's a reason for the change. I'm sure people love this change. I can't stand this change. This change just put 3 or 4 more clicks and 3 or 4 more screens between me and getting the information that I need. Right. I know you can't change everything for every individual. If there's a way for me to roll back this change, I'll do it. If not, I'll deal with it. That's the customer experience, I think, for most of us.
Yeah.
Give me the best you got. I'll deal with it. I'll figure out a way to work around the changes you're making. Yeah. But I every time I talk to them, they say they're working on other things, which I know they are. I just don't think those are the things that necessarily have the biggest impact for me as the therapist.
Right. Ben brings up a good point. For decades, so I want to do this one first. For ROI, return on investment development, what more do they make if they do this versus they don't? At some point, where is the return from them? Well, at some point when someone else, my answer would be when someone else does it and is doing it smoother, I'm going to start thinking of leaving. So it's like, I'm not married, but like if I didn't pick up my underpants enough times, eventually I'd piss off the person I was with. They'd be like, you know what? That guy over there picks up his underpants. So I'm going to go. So you're right. Nothing in the immediate time, except most of the EMRs are pretty close, right? Like they're pretty close, right? They're not crazy far apart. Like there's not one on the market that has an AI scribe and none of the others do. They're all like, they're doing this, right? This is an arms race. For decades, the only person in EMR was billing. Therefore, the focus is not of clinical or health management. Agreed. Except now we know how decisions are made. I was just watching a video with, what is Rory's last name? I never remember his name. Sutherland. And he was like, please stop thinking we make logical decisions. We make emotional decisions and then we invent a logical story to justify that. I don't care if you're in the C-suite or you're in the pit. Things are changing, newer systems, older systems, wraparound will start to do what you're saying. The person who does it first will do better. I was going to say win, but I'll say, in my opinion, the person who starts to pay attention to the stuff that doesn't matter actually wins. Like the Microsoft Zune. Are you familiar, Tony?
No.
Microsoft had their own MP3 player. I can't remember, a year before the iPod. It was out. Like in all intents and purposes, it had better sound. If you asked like sound people, soundophiles, it had better sound. It had better compression, which made you hold more songs per Zune device. It's a plug-in device. Do you want to know why it lost? It was better in all intents and purposes. All better battery life, better this, better that. Steve Jobs walked out on stage and said 1,000 songs in your pocket. And Bill Gates said 1.21 gigawatt per blah, 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 blah. Better sound. Better sound is negligible. It's barely able, but 1,000 songs in my pocket. And how do I access all those songs? I could go down, 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 or he made it a wheel and you could whip through those things. David had 2 Zunes. That's like bad squared. That's not good. That's squared. No, I was kidding. But for all intents and purposes, they were better, but someone didn't explain it right. So my reason for bringing that up to Ben is that's cool, bro. Except the one who does it will get more people buying it. There's your return on investment, in my opinion.
And I agree, because I think that's what we see in healthcare. I don't have to be much better, if any better, than the clinic across the street. There's a clinic across the street, a clinic down the road. As long as we all suck, nobody has to get better.
Yes.
And it's easy to run a sucky clinic.
Yes,
it is. Now, when somebody comes in who is like orders of magnitude better, it is a completely different experience. Now we have to elevate. Now we have to improve.
Yeah.
From my perspective, the biggest innovation I saw in EMRs was when Luna came out and a therapist could just talk on the phone and do their documentation that way.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like that was blowing people's minds. That was completely changing things. The problem there is it's still, I think, retro instead of proactive, meaning like I don't need an EMR to capture information. I need an EMR to be my predictive assistant, to look ahead, to look at the past information and give me resources like a true autopilot. Even if you don't want to take away my clinical decision-making, you can make recommendations to say, hey, this is what's been done. This is what's going on. Here are multiple data points that I recommend you consider doing in the future. You know, and like you said, don't wait for me to try and figure out how many weeks it's been since surgery. Tell me, because this is a post-surgical case. Like, these are the things that are important to me. Give me those resources so I can see a mile down the hill.
I gotta be honest. I know nothing about technology, but my Peloton bike knows a ton about me. It's like, in the last 3 weeks, your average watts have gone up, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, so you did something with a date and a delta of watts over a certain time, and now you're giving me that result. I don't disagree with what Ben is saying here. Leaving an EHR is painful, operational, financially. Here's the thing. I don't know if anybody loves their EHR. So we're all married, but we're dating, and we're looking for the next one. You talked about seeing into the future, not just seeing into the past, which brings us to our next sponsor, which is the CPT code Crystal Ball. Wouldn't this be a great addition? Prompt is going to buy this next. Are you tired of coding blind? The CPT code Crystal Ball reveals exactly what UHC might approve this month. Disclaimer, the ball is foggy 93% of the time. Our lawyers made us say that. So find out cptcodecrystalball.com to get your crystal ball to code. We're all just guessing. We're spray and pray. I want to talk about golf.
Okay.
I don't remember what golf. This is some golf course. I don't even know what golf course this was. And this was posted on like January 1st or January 2nd. And this is some golf course. It looks very nice. I'll describe the image for the podcast audience. It's like a nice sand. It's not a sand trap. It's a waste area, but it's just sand. It looks near the ocean. It's just got that vibe, lush grass, one tree on the horizon. And they're like, hey, everybody, all tee times for 2026 have been filled. Thanks for coming out. January 2nd. What does that do for cash flow? Let's talk about what that does for a golf course for a second. Cash flow. We cannot accept any more people because you can only have, I can't remember. I used to know like the appropriate amount of time between tee times. Do you golfer, Tony?
Not much. I'll do it occasionally. Yeah.
You understand the concept.
Yeah.
So, and I remember as a kid being like, why are tee times 7:14, 7:23 and a half? And it's like, because they're estimating, and the goal is stack as many foursomes so you keep the golf experience. You don't want someone up your ass, and you don't want to be up someone's ass. You want to be backed up. But the golf course is like, want to get as many guys through. So that's why there's a dude who's like the mate or D who's at the front going, okay, McKay up on McKay 4. And you're like, hey man, how you doing? The guy's like, put the ball on the tee. Do the yippity yap later on. Tee off, get out of here. Boom, we're moving along. These guys are booked for 2026. I don't know the math on that, but what does that do for a business, even if you know nothing about golf, Tony?
I mean, it takes the peaks and the troughs away, basically. You do cap your upside potential, but then you also limit your downside risk. You know your budget for the year. You have money in the bank. Like, it guarantees, it allows you to make forward-thinking decisions.
Huge. You are not playing catch-up. Here's the thing. They're all booked. You know not everybody's going to show up. Even better. So if you knew your numbers well enough and you have margin here, you're already in the black. Now you can get creative. Now you can go, We know 26% of people who have a tee time don't show up because life or whatever. What do we do then? I was thinking about this. I was like, you fly standby. Who wants to fly standby? You do the same as a ski resort. If I'm a solo skier, I can sort of go in the shorter line than if I'm with a group of 2 or 3 other people. And then you get paired with singles to move it along. I would invest in a fly standby app. It's called it's tee time. It's a flight, right? I would do a standby app. I would maybe create a secondary market for that, because you're not only paying for golf. What do you do at hole 9 and 8 after 9 and after 18? You go get some hot dogs and you get some overpriced drinks and you load up, and then you stop by the pro shop. Every one of those missed tee times is missed revenue. They're already paid for. How do I fill them back up? How do I dictate the secondary market if there is one? That's insane to me, but this is big on tickets. Maybe it's big on golf. My first question would be, dude, how did you do that? That's the question. How did you? I guess you get so damn good and so damn popular, and you live in an area where people want to come and play that golf course, and you have low supply and high demand, and that's what you do. So I guess my question is, man, how do you do that? Could you now? You've talked about this before. The 5:15 appointment is really, really valuable. If you're in peds, the 3:47 tee time is more valuable, because I don't want to go home and then bring my kid to therapy. I want to go to school, bring them to therapy, sit in the parking lot while they're doing therapy, then get them out of there and then go home. How do you structure this? I know that golf courses will sometimes do this, which is like, if you tee off late in the day, they're like, all right, we'll knock a couple bucks off of it, because most of the day's over and we know we said. So what do you think is in 2026? I think flexible pricing and timing is definitely on the horizon.
Yeah. Which kind of related to the EMR. My EMR knows when I've got somebody who cancels more frequently than somebody else. Why is my EMR not adjusting in real time? Why is my EMR not utilizing this schedule management system to understand? And back to, like, how ridiculous. Okay, if we're going to bill, 8 to 22 minute CPT codes, why am I scheduling everybody on the 40 minute, the 60 minute? Like, why is that? Somebody asked a question, and Jared and Richard both said the same thing. Like, if we weren't billing on CPT code units, what would the system look like? How could we make this different? If somebody's got a $45 copay, is there an opportunity for me to come in with shorter visits that would actually cost less than $45 copay, that would still make me more per minute of time, but would allow us to kind of create a win-win-win situation? I can't do that if I don't have a flexible scheduling system. And if my front desk or my EMR or everything is built around 30-minute spot, 40-minute spot, 60-minute spot, without the 7.5-minute spot, 7:31, why can't I schedule an appointment for 7 minutes and 31 seconds if it's the time rules? I mean, right. It's just, we are not building efficient systems. It was very unique and jarring to me when I started. I'm going to make a point to come back to this. I promise. It's going to sound like I'm going away, but I'm going to twist it. I'm going to slice it on back. Don't worry about it. Going to PT conferences and then being asked to speak at them. Hey, Jimmy, we'd love to have you speak at this conference for 90 minutes, whatever topic that you want. And I remember the first time I did that, I was like, I don't have a 90-minute talk on that. I could do a 42-minute talk and then give someone else the difference. And they were like, no, we need to fill 90. And that's when I was like, oh, you're in the fill 90 game. Yeah. I'm in the good talk per minute game, because I want the audience to leave wanting more. Here's how it worked in radio. And I've said this to people who run conferences, but they're in the fill 90 minute. They want to just get the thing filled and then start putting butts in seats. I'm in the put the better thing on stage. If Tony hosted the morning show and Jimmy was a budding radio DJ, I'd walk by Tony after he got off the air. It's like, that was a really great show, Tony. Step 1, kiss his butt. That was great, man. You guys are great. Hey, I got an idea. For you. And you're like, all right, man, listen, bro, I got 7 minutes. What do you got? I would now pitch the idea.
And then you're sitting there and you're listening and you're envisioning how you would pull this off because it's your show. Tony's got to fill 5 hours, but the quality of the 5 hours, he's got 2 choices. Do something funny with a microphone or shut up and play some Pearl Jam. Figure out what math you want to do. I'm now pitching because I want to get on the show because the morning show is more listened to. And what I would not do is go, Tony, I got an idea for a 15-minute bit. We're going to do this and this and this. Not how it works. You give me the bit. I then tell you, number 1, if it's on the air. Number 2, how much time you're getting. It's worth. And then I tell you, I'm going to take your idea, I'm going to mold it. We don't do that with conferences, and we don't do that in clinical. Everything's you have to become a cat. Do you ever notice how cats, when they sit in a box, they become the shape of a box, or they sit in a cylinder, they become the cylinder? That's not how it should work. A 9-minute appointment should exist. I'm agreeing with you because it's better. Because it's better. And now we have AI and we have the ability to do a 9-minute appointment. Why don't we? No one's asked for it enough. We need more. You know what we should start selling? Pitchforks and torches. And we should show up where these decisions are made and where it's done, and then things will get changed. Pitchforks and torches. So that was the golf course. I thought it was brilliant. These guys are stacked up. All tee times for 2026 have been filled. How great would it be if your clinic was close to that?
You asked a question. I thought it was attached to that post saying, should we call appointments something different? What were you thinking?
I don't know. But, when I go to book my haircut with Rod down the street, I book through an app now. I love it. Rod's cutting hair. Why is he answering the phone and looking at a book? So I book, and the last step is, hey man, if you don't come, it's $35. You're paying for the haircut. And I'm like, got it. Rod's busy, and I don't want a random dude cutting my hair. I'm going to Rod for 5 years, 6 years. This also goes into the cancellation fee, which is like, it's not a cancellation fee. You already paid for this. Paid for it. There's a psychological difference there. Rory Sutherland would have a field day with this, which is you don't charge a cancellation fee. You take the money when you book the time. Right. Hairstylists do this, and we do not bat an eye. Massage therapists do this. We do not bat an eye. They understand. I booked 5 to 6. 5 to 6 is gone. I cannot now make money. And if I were right at the line between breaking even and making money and feeding my family, you have now caused me to, sorry, little Timmy, not enough coal to keep you warm tomorrow. But for some reason in healthcare, I think it's because there's a third person in the room, right? That's probably the issue. So yeah, I guess a tea time is you have bought the permission, the right to stand at hole 1 at 7:03. At 7:15, tough shit. Can't do it. Can't fit you in. Look at all the people. But we don't do that. So yeah, I guess my question is like, what is it as dumb as changing the name from an appointment to something? I don't know. I got to buy a thesaurus, or I mean, no one's buying thesauruses anymore. They're just going to AI. But like, I don't know. Would a rose by any other name feel different? Is my question.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about requiring prepayment. And we know even with Medicare, you can have a cancellation fee, you can have a no-show policy, you can charge Medicare beneficiaries. What you can't do is you can't force them to pay for something in order to receive the Medicare covered service, but you can have a policy in place for cancellations and no-shows. So then the question is, well, can I have a refundable, something out there? And I would go back and say, again, this is where smart technology, me as the human, maybe I can't keep track of 1,000 patients over a calendar year. But if my AI can create a predictive analysis of, hey, this person based on these individual features are likely to cancel, maybe we can create scheduling systems that accommodate for that. Yep. And if I'm not in an insurance world, 100%, like, taking payment before the patient arrives, taking payment to book the appointment. Absolutely. Like, I can't imagine not doing something like that.
Hotels, airlines, maybe Jurassic 7 has an idea, which is we call it a PT time. What? Yeah. It was sitting right there the whole time. A PTEE time for the podcast listeners. Like, it's been sitting right there the whole time. You understand this. You know what I was mad about? Did you ever ride one of those things? Not a boat, but a smaller individual one that you ride in the water, personal water. Jet ski?
Yeah.
Motorcycle was there the whole time. No one named it that. When someone pointed that out, I was like, dude, jet ski? That's not a jet ski. That's a motorcycle. But yeah, PT time. Hotels. Like I bet you if I ask ChatGPT right now, create a list of industries where if I say that I'm coming to receive a service or a good, and then I don't show up, that industry sort of doesn't care because like, let me pay. Hotel, past a certain time, it doesn't matter. Like, well, we'll let that room sit empty. You paid for it. Or we'll sell it again because you ain't here, right? And we sort of are pissed, but we're like, oh, I guess so. But for some reason, our time isn't worth it. This is not a logistics question. This is a psychology question. This is like, well, Peace Corps, Gene, we're okay. Oh, I want to save everybody.
So that's the thing. In healthcare, nobody ever wants to blame the patient for the patient's situation. And I totally get it. What about blaming the provider for the provider situation? Like, when do we as the provider, as the business owner, as the therapist, when do we take the responsibility for not implementing the systems that we see are successful in so many other industries, so many other professions?
Well, they're not like us.
And what?
They're not like us.
Yeah.
We're different.
And I know what to do. I see what should be done. Jimmy and Tony are saying we should be doing this, but I don't do it. Like, when do we take that responsibility? Now, I know we're coming down 15 minutes. I shared with you, I don't have access to it in the chat, reimbursement rates, right?
Oh, yeah,
everybody's celebrating this big win. We got an increase in reimbursement rates, which on an absolute basis, I shared my Ohio Medicare rates from 2025 to 2026. Yes, in fact, we did get a 0.5 to 2.5% increase, but inflation adjusted, we're still losing money.
Wow.
And I'm fine with that. I don't mind because, as much as I'm the greedy, horrible capitalist who wants to make a profit in order to serve my community better, I also recognize that I'm working within a system that's running out of money every single year. And so I want to prioritize bringing the cost of care down. That's where it becomes my responsibility to say, okay, I need to make more efficient decisions. I need to leverage technology. I need to improve my systems so I can deliver a unit of therapy to Medicare beneficiaries for less cost, which allows me to make a profit.
Yep.
Or I need to make the profit on something else layered on top. So here are the actual numbers, the absolute number plus the inflation adjusted number. We're still losing.
Yeah. People do pay a lot of attention. I don't think I have the graphic anymore. I used to play it. I think you and Dave used to laugh, where it's just the seesaw. It's like people will bitch about the cost of something, how much I have to pay, but it's like, what if you did better? This is where that app like Rocket Money does great. It's like the cost of gas is going to be the cost of gas, but you're paying for 7 subscriptions blindly. Like, get rid of that. So pay attention to the other side of the equation, which is like, Medicare's paying us less. We're going to go underwater. Time to figure out how to make your boat. That's what happens in every war movie. We're going down, guys. Dump the fuel. Get rid of all the things that are heavy. It's like, get as light as possible. Why are you not doing it? That's the only side of the equation you can actually affect. You can yell at the other side of the equation, but Tony, I got to be honest, yelling at the other side of the equation to be fair, it just hasn't worked yet. It just hasn't worked yet. Maybe screaming at Medicare again, maybe bitching about the APTA will work in 2026. Hey, let's be optimistic, everybody.
I think it falls in like Ramit Sethi talks about, stressing out about a latte on a daily basis, $3, compared to making a bad decision when you're financing a house. Let's look at the big things. What has the big impact? And I talked about this and I didn't really get a response. I said, look, okay, I just realized I was today years old. That's what people say. When I'm like, you know what? I understand professional organizations are fighting to increase reimbursement. But I'm like, are we fighting for 3% or are we fighting for 150%? I can't get behind a 3%, 5%, 10% increase in reimbursement from Medicare and the like. It's not going to matter. It's going to disappear on the balance sheet. It's going to have a nominal or no impact. If you're telling me you're going to fight to double reimbursement, okay, maybe that's going to have some measurable change on how things are going. We don't even know what they're fighting for.
Yeah, to be honest, I have no. And by the time you win that, are you already in the red? Do you know what I mean? Like, we've been fighting for 12 years and we got the 3%. It's like, dude, but we've lost 3% over 10 years. So we're down 30. Right. Thanks. But what you're sort of advocating for is, and I was taught this once, there was a big housing company coming into my town when I was like in high school, and they came in with these plans. And they were like, we're gonna build 1,000 houses. People were losing their minds. They were like, that's gonna do this and this and this and this. And the housing company like did a town hall or whatever. And there was this dude who was in my neighborhood who was just this smart old dude who says, they're not gonna build 1,000 houses. He's like, and people were like, yeah, because we're bitching at the town hall. He goes, they want to build 200 houses. So they came with 1,000. Everyone got all riled up, and then they'll go, you know what? You guys are right. We're just gonna build 200. So they asked for 1,000, knowing they were never going to do 1,000. It wasn't possible. And then they were like, I guess we'll settle on 200. That's what they wanted the whole time. But you had to ask for the 1,000 and get everybody like, what? The problem is you're negotiating, in my opinion, and I know very little about advocacy. There's no reason for Medicare to be like, oh, I guess so. They're like the TSA. Someone was like, when's the TSA going to get better? And I was like, never. Well, they need to. Is there a different line somewhere at the airport? There's no Coke. Sorry, there's no Pepsi to come along to say Coke better get their stuff together or they're going to get run out of business. Well, you've got Clear and PreCheck. Yeah, it all leads to TSA. It's just different routes to TSA, bro. Like, it's different shades of bad. So there's no real reason. So that's why, like, if looking at it this way, do you want to advocate for maybe someone giving you more soup, sir? Or do you want to do your own thing and lower the cost, even if you're going to still take insurance? Okay, I'm handcuffed. That's the system I'm in. Affect the side of the equation you can. This goes back to the dumb saying, which is like, control the controllables. But we'll still yell at the APTA and Medicare. I'm like, they don't care. When will they? Never. Like, they're not going to. You're going to be dead before anything changes. And that's not me being morbid. That's me being real.
And I would say everybody is doing their thing. APTA is working hard as they can on the things that they're working on.
As hard as they can. Yes.
EMR companies are working hard as they can on the things that they think are important. PTs are working as hard as they can on the things that are important. This is where I try to balance, like, okay, I would love to pay everybody more. I would love to have universal health care. I would love to, everybody to get every kid in school to get a personalized tutor that spends an hour on every single subject. I love it all. It's not going to happen. So let me affect the things that I can actually change. I can provide a better experience in my clinic than the clinic across the street for less money and more profit within the scope of what I'm allowed to do legally. If we remove the legal part of it, I could do a whole lot more.
Adam Meakins did have a rant the other day where he essentially said what you said 9 months ago, which he's like, dude, this guy over here is personal trainer who's unregulated, can say whatever they want. I can say, and do you know Adam's like story right now? Adam Meakins' story? He's been on like double, quadruple secret probation for like 7 years. Like, his license is like potentially being taken away for dropping F-bombs on the internet. And I'm like, sorry. Jimmy comes in with the First Amendment again. And I know we're talking about America or Europe, but I'm like, the social media is sort of its own country. You could, like, I guess within reason, but I don't think Adam's crossed that line. Like, he didn't advocate for anyone, things that I would say, First Amendment, not so great, like murdering someone, not great. Mostly anything with kids, out, not cool. Adam's just like, I think your opinion sucks. And then he just adds colorful language and he doesn't stop. Here's the thing. He believes he's right, whether or not he's right or not. But like, now his livelihood is on the line. The reason I'm bringing this up is did you hear the new thing with Mel? You know who Mel Robbins is?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now she's selling like protein powder. So people are like, oh, got it. It was write the book, get the attention. Now here comes the grift. And it's like, oh, okay. In my mind, I'm like, what's she selling? And like protein powder. I'm like, all right. Okay. Like, what's the problem? Like, is she saying it's protein powder and it's not protein powder? No, it's protein powder. Okay. But she's not a dietitian. All right. I can go buy protein powder like in my gas station. Now, if she were selling like, hey, I think you should use this medication, like that's what a controlled substance is in my rudimentary explanation. But she's selling like plant-based protein powder as far as I know. And I'm like, all right, I'm sort of okay with that. Like, but she's doing it in public. Like she's not selling magic beans that she's saying is going to give you muscles and get you swole. I don't know. I'm a little disappointed. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, I mean, yeah, I love Adam Meakins. I fully support everything he does, everything he says. You know, he's going to question convention, but he's going to bring the research behind it.
Correct.
And just the fact that he is willing to call people out and he gets sanctioned essentially for it. Okay. Whereas you have way loonier, way crazier, way more absurd people who just keep quiet and hang out in the shadows, you know, who are never going to run into any issues.
Not okay.
And then in regards to the Mel Robbins thing, like, yeah, that's how business works. Now, you know, she is going to make her decision. She's going to need to make money to support the machine that she has created. Mm-hmm. And I think this is where it gets a little scary in healthcare, because you have this huge working population, and we've got a couple minutes. I want to bounce this off of you because I'm trying to figure this out for myself. We always hear the people who say, well, you know, you can't have the business without the workers. I get it. Like the people, we're the workers. We're the ones that are treating the patients. We're the ones that are doing the heavy lifting. We're the bricklayers. But then you also can't have the business without the owner and the investor. And we're that too. So I'm like, as the population increases of people who feel cheated, who believe that they're being taken advantage of, they're obviously going to make decisions that are not in the best interest of the business and keeping the business operational. At some point, there's no reason to have the business if there's not a profit for the business owner. I don't know. It's just like the loudest voice on social media right now is the persecuted worker. And this is going to go full circle all the way back to Jared Hall and Richard Severin's post. It's like, if Jimmy, you tell me that I'm being taken advantage of because I'm working harder than everybody else and I'm not making as much as I deserve, that's an easy message for you to sell to me. And that's a message that's going to resonate with me, and I'm going to feel persecuted and I'm going to become the victim. And you are going to sell me that message to a point where I can't even hear the other side, which is, what are we supposed to do? This is what the service is valued at. Right. This is what people are willing to pay for this service. Now, on a small scale, it's easy for me to just close the clinic. Right. You know, it's easy for me to shut down and go do something else. But that's not the answer. Obviously, it hurts patients. It hurts the profession. It hurts everything. I don't know. Do you think about that? Do you have any like?
Yeah. I mean, quit. You can do it better. You just told me if you're the persecuted worker and you're like, I can run a business better. It's like, have at it, do it.
So what do you, let's think of this as kind of the closing. What is the reason they're not? Because this is the theme, today's theme. Why aren't EMRs working on other things? Why aren't APTA working on, why isn't the persecuted worker who feels underpaid and overworked and taken advantage of, and somebody used the word the other day, bullied. Oh, yeah. This is not a bullying situation, but why are they not quitting? Why are they not? Why do you think they're not? Because I don't know why they're not.
Pain and fear. It's always an emotion. Pain and fear. What do we want? Change. When do we want it? Now. What are we willing to do to get it? Sing this song instead of just going to do it. Like pain and fear. It's hard and scary, so I won't do it, but I'll complain about where I am. Like I had several of those people on my team before, and I'm like, you can go. I know the guy at the other radio station across the street. Go work. I will give you a glowing recommendation. Go work there. Oh, it's the same there. All right. Well, then call the FCC, get a license, pay $75,000 to $150,000 for music rights, rent a building, do it yourself. So easy. You just explain to me how I'm exploiting you. So easy.
So then does that put the business owner in the situation of saying, look, I know you're going to complain no matter what I do, even if I give you, I did it today. Medicare gave us a 2.5% raise. What did I do? I complained about it because it doesn't outpace inflation. I am the employee complaining that I'm overworked and underpaid, and nothing Medicare, you do is going to be enough. So Medicare doesn't care. No. Does the business owner then have to say, look, this is the price of doing business. I'm going to stay in business. You're going to complain. I'm going to do the best that I can, despite you not feeling appreciated. And we're just going to treat patients today.
It's not show friends. It's show business. Go cut lawns. Go cut hair. Go walk dogs. This is the physics of this environment, and it is constantly changing. And why don't you yell at gravity, Tony? Dude, gravity's heavy. It's been the same heavy. You've never given us a break, gravity. Even when my grandma was 99 years old, she still had the same gravity than what she had when she was 16 years old. That feels unfair. Tough shit. No one cares. No one cares. Work harder, or I don't necessarily, no one cares, work harder. I go, choose your heart. Choose it. Does this suck? Yeah. Is it unattainable? Yes. There's the door. You can push or pull. Doesn't matter. Push or pull. Do something else. But the patients, someone else will take care of them. They're going to be okay. It's just not going to be you. That's okay, though. That's okay. I left radio. I loved it until it hit a point where I was like, oh, this is getting bad. I didn't see. This is what I didn't want. This is why I left radio when I left. I knew that I would have been the guy who was old and crusty and pitching, screaming at clouds. So I left. But I looked for the door. I went to go to law school. I went to business school, and then I settled on PT. And now I just talk into microphones again. I chose my heart. I know what I like to do. I thought I could treat patients. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. And I was like, well, can I help people do it a different way? I invented it, for better or for worse. If it's working, I don't know. The lights are on for now. Who knows what the hell is going to happen in 2026? Choose your heart. If you don't like it, go build your own clinic. Or go walk dogs. Do something else. If you hate, this is it. I'm very sorry. This is it. I wish we could just make it rain for everybody who came out of school. We can't. Math doesn't.
All right. Parting shot. I think as physical therapists, we understand better than anyone that we are in control of our own decisions. We can affect change in our own life, not in anybody else's life. And so just like if I want to be able to walk across the room, I need to put the work in, I need to make the adjustments. And if I, don't have the capacity to do it, I need to find another way to get across the room. Yep. But I'm always going to be working toward getting across the room. That is within my independence as a human. What you got?
I would say I'll end what I ended with, which is choose your heart. Like if you honestly don't like it, change settings. And if it's still bad in the other setting and you tried 3 settings, maybe the profession is wrong, or maybe you're on the right team, wrong position. Choose your hard. To me, right field was hard, but first base was not hard. I chose my heart. I didn't leave baseball. But if baseball still sucked, would have left baseball, would have went swimming. Like choose your hard. The final thing I'll say is you're really never too old to change whatever. Yeah. Like I know, listen, if Gary Vee had this line, he's like, if you truly have a bullshit job, quit. There's bullshit jobs everywhere, right? And then Jim Carrey, I'll end on Jim Carrey. He said his dad was funnier than him, but decided to be an accountant or whatever, and then got fired. He was an accountant because it was safer than being a comedian. So you could fail at the thing you freaking hate anyway. Might as well choose your heart and choose the right thing. I hope Dave has fun on Space Mountain. I want to see lots of pictures. We'll be back on Thursday. Tony, I'll talk to you soon.
That's it. We're out.
Boys, what the hell are you doing?
Follow Tony Maritato on YouTube at Total Therapy Solution. Find Dave Kittle at ConciergePainRelief.com and on YouTube at The Dave Kittle Show. And follow Jimmy McKay at PT Pintcast on YouTube, the socials, and wherever you binge podcasts you pretend are for CEUs. And hey, here's a reminder. None of this was for advice. This was for entertainment only. Our lawyers say that counts. Thanks, Keith.